Hello and welcome to Fantasy Life Show. We are drafting again edition. I'm your host, Ian Hartitz. It's a great day to be great. And yeah, that's right. RealTime Sports. Your boy, Dwain McFarland and Ian are back at it. So Dwain did it last night. We're doing it again today. It's a great day to draft a great fantasy football team. At least we hope.
Yeah, man. Full PPR. Okay. We've got 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, 1 tight end, 2 flex, obviously 1 quarterback. So the 2 flex being a key thing here in the full PPR. So probably a strategy where we're going to lean into wide receiver quite a bit. But I think you and I talked a lot in the last draft. So folks can go check that out. We were picking down at 9. We kind of got a gift, Jamar Chase. People worried about the hold in. I mean, you could argue maybe that won't be a gift depending on how that turns out, but like certainly going to take a swing at Jamar Chase at pick 9. Then we came back with Puka Nakua. Then the following round, we got Devonta Smith to fall to us. And then in round 4, we took Rashee Rice. So we started off with 4 wide receivers, but looking at the draft room, we I think we're both on the same page that, man, if you could go hero RB with one of the top 3 backs, we would really like that build because the running backs all go so fast and there's value at wide receiver. So really hoping that at one of these picks here, like at pick 5, we got pick 5. I'm hoping that one of these players is Bijan Robinson or Breece Hall. But if not, that probably means we're getting Tyreek Hill or CeeDee Lamb. So I'm going to be okay either way, but I would like the running back start just based on how I saw the draft board go last night.
Dwayne, we love one of our lovely sponsors, New Era, and they accordingly hooked us up with a lot of hats, and I got them already, man. I'm trying to get Breece Hall into, wearing the hat into existence. Christian McCaffrey, Tyreek Hill off the board. I got the Falcons ready. I got the Cowboys ready as well. I'll be honest, I didn't think McCaffrey was going to get to us, so I kind of left it on the shelf over there. But, would have been willing to go get it there. So, again, picking out of the 5 hole. And, yeah, Dwayne, it was surprising. I mean, we had Rashad White, Travis Etienne. I mean, guys that even in non-best ball drafts, I feel like we're far more used to seeing them fall into round 3. Not yesterday. We'll see what this room looks like, though.
Yeah, and I mean, this could go. It's already going completely different. There goes Jamar Chase.
Before CD.
We're taking Lamb if he's here. But if not, it's Breece or Bijan, and I think we're going Breece.
So CD over Breece, even though I'm already wearing the Jets hat.
I think so, just because
I know.
I think CD, like, how many times do we get to draft him at 5? Like Jamar Chase just went 3 and we got him at 9.
And I don't know about you. I'm far more concerned about the Chase situation than CD.
Yeah, you got 2 years left. Also, it's the Bengals. Yeah.
Enough said.
Look. Yeah, it's the Cowboys typically get their deals done with their big players.
All right.
There goes Lamb. So we're getting Breece Hall. You good?
You've been Breece over Bijan. I'm starting to come around. I'm wearing the Jets hat. Come on. It's destiny. Breece Hall. Come on down.
Breece
All right. Let's go.
On the squad here. I was ready. And I was like you. I had Falcons ready, but we got Jets. So yeah, I'm gonna go with you. I'm gonna put mine backwards though.
All right. I got the stickers off.
You got forward. I'll go backwards. We got both vibes covered.
This is how you draft a fantasy football team, man. You just start blindly front running with whatever guy you manage to get in round 1. So feeling good. Justin Jefferson, pick 6, Bijan Robinson, pick 7. Again, nothing too, wild going on, but certainly a different look than we had yesterday when, again, Jamar Chase fell all the way down to us over there at 109. So
I drafted a best ball team just before this over on Underdog. Was sitting in there watching TV with the wife. And, I just wanted to live my best life. And I was sitting at pick 8 and Justin Jefferson fell to me, Ian. I don't have enough of him. So I just took him. And then coming back, I said, screw it. I just took Malik Neighbors. And in the 3rd round, I took Rashee Rice. And I just said, I'm just going to live my life, people. I'm just going to live my life. I know I'm taking them all ahead of ADP. Every article out there says that I'm a moron because other people are getting more value. But you know what? I loved my freaking team. I then came back and got Travis Kelce added onto that. I was able just to go after running back in a really sweet spot. I got Jordan Love stacked with Christian Watson. So sometimes, you just got to vibe a little bit. Yeah.
ADP is just a construct, man. You don't have to freaking listen to big ADP out here every single draft. But no, I'm with you, man. I do think that as much as, again, as a guide, you don't want to obviously draft someone where you have a chance of getting them later, particularly in one of these bigger tournaments, obviously. But then again, man, someone like Rashee Rice, I mean, that really is the toughest kind of, I guess, decision to make in your draft, Dwayne, because you see the ADP all over the place. He's not allegedly going until pick 80, pick 90, but I sure haven't been in any of those drafts recently where that ends up being the case. So if you are in a home ESPN league, I mean, hey, I don't even know why I'm asking you. I should be asking your son because he's the one that made it happen. But like, what round really do you start pulling the trigger on Rashee Rice? 5?
Yeah. And so I wrote up, I've been writing up the strategy articles for the last 2 weeks, and there's one out for every position, but I've got one dropping in the morning. And I did several like example drafts, and in all of them, like
Nice.
I think the latest I had people pulling the trigger on Rice was 6, and
Okay.
others it was 5. And in most of those examples, it was always neighbors Rice, neighbors Rice, neighbors Rice. So I built some double hero teams for people just to kind of see how they went, because one went so good for my son Camden, in his ESPN home league, and we had talked about it for his draft, and it worked out the right way. I had said, hey, probably go hero, but if you're feeling it, and how your league mates are gonna draft, they're gonna keep drafting the running backs and leave the receivers for you. Then I feel really good about Neighbors, and Rasheed Rice. He didn't end up with Rasheed Rice, but he did get Neighbors and he got Waddle. So I think you could take him as early as round 4 over there. So
I have an article that should be up live by the time everyone's listening to this, where again, just kind of going round by round with 3 bullets for my general strategy, favorite targets, tier breaks, and then a little bit of an explanation. And yeah, for round 5, I have favorite targets, Jalen Waddle, Malik Neighbors still potentially being available here is a gift from the fantasy gods. And then, yeah, Rasheed Rice as well. So really is wild, again, seeing some of the discrepancies between these sites. But yeah, take advantage of it when you can. Closing out round 1, we had Saquon Barkley at the turn, A.J. Brown, Puka Nacua, and Garrett Wilson. So again, Dwayne, already pretty different. We managed to get Puka Nacua going back to us at the 109 in round 2. Not even round 1, Dwayne, round 2 yesterday.
Yeah, we got the guy that went 3rd in this draft at 9. And then we got the guy that went, 10th?
Yeah.
We got him with the 4th pick of the 2nd round last night. So that tells you there may not be a lot of stacks like that, Ian.
Feeling better about it already. So as we get back going, again, so nice recording this, Dwayne. We don't have to worry about people.
Now we're back on the running back train like we saw last night. Double tap down on the turn, Barkley Taylor, and then Jahmyr Gibbs to the AJ Brown drafter.
That's a superhero build right there. That said, Dwayne, if we get a chance for one, Devon Achane might be joining them. Who knows? Crazier things have happened.
Crazier things have happened. I will say, I really in a league like this with full PPR, man, let's see what receivers are going to be here. If Marvin Harrison is sitting here, that's who cool I think. Too. Yeah, like look, it's Marv, Drake London, Nico Collins.
And honestly, Dwayne, I mean, I just, YouTubers can see your kind of tier sheet right here. I think you could argue Marv and London are almost in their own mini tier just because of the lack of target competition they have relative to these other guys. So I guess I'm not giving maybe Kyle Pitts and, Trey McBride enough respect because they do matter, obviously. But Marv and London for me, man, like those are the guys where, yes, I'm 100% slam dunking it. After that, I think you get kind of the extended tier.
Yeah, I agree. So we'll see what happens here. But if there were to be a running back that would be in our conversation here, it would be Achane.
Mm-hmm.
Not that we would never take Kyron or Henry, but I just really like a hero build over here. I would like to really pill off 3 freaking receivers that we love. Where did Malik go last night? I can't even remember.
I can look at the draft board real quick.
Achane
versus Marv. How are you feeling? I think I lean a little bit.
I like Marv.
Yeah.
I go Marv. and London. My order right now would be Marv, London, Nico, Achane. You could talk me into Achane over Nico.
Neighbors went middle of round 3 yesterday. Him and Waddle.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. I've already got Neighbors in the queue. I've already got Rasheed Rice in the damn queue.
We're ready for it.
Yeah. So there goes Marvin Harrison Jr.
Okay.
Yeah. That's okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I love Drake London here if he gets to us. I think Drake London's an easy pick. You could talk me into Achane if he gets here over Nico Collins. I'll let you make the call on it because I love London. Yeah. So there goes London. So it's going to come down to this decision. We got 1 pick until we go.
I kind of want to go superhero, man.
Okay. Man, Achane's the guy that I'm going to do it with. And then we're done. We saw wide receivers fall a little bit last night, and we get to test out. Does Rasheed Rice come back to us in round 4? Because we're going to take Neighbors in 3, assuming, the guy at the turn doesn't take him.
All right, let's snatch him. Devon Achane, come on down.
All right. Devon Achane. We're going to draft you, sir. Superhero. Superhero's a tough start in a 3 wide receiver, 1 flex, but in 2 running back, 2 flex. Full PPR, I still prefer the wide receiver start, but you have a little bit more leniency here because we only have to for sure start 2 wide receivers.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So if we get 3 really good ones, you know, we're going to feel good, and we'll have flexibility to figure out what our other flex spot looks like.
Nothing against Nico, to be clear, but again, him versus Olave versus Waddle versus Neighbors versus Debo versus Ayuk. I don't necessarily agree with him being priced at the top of that tier, but, you know, I do think it is a long one. And honestly, you know, I'll jinx it by saying this, but wouldn't be the craziest thing if we do happen to see him make it back to us. Do not think we can get that benefit of the doubt with Achane. So Breece Hall, Devin Achane start. And, you know, Dwayne, it is a good reminder that we are in redraft land. I understand people haven't been doing this in the best ball streets as much, but, you know, with these 2 running backs now, we do buy us a hell of a lot of time where we can now spend the next 6, 7, 8 rounds really on wide receivers, get our elite onesies, and then, you know, we'll be back for the RBs once the handcuffs are up.
Yeah, and the other thing I like here, last night we were kind of the only 0 RB drafters. We've got 3 right now in this room. Well, we had one other team that we also like that drafted out of the 4 spot last night. I thought they did a nice job drafting a 0 RB team. So if this guy, Futomaki, if he goes with a wide receiver here and we get 3 of them like on this build, that'll be interesting.
You consider it 0 if they don't take a running back in 2 rounds. I feel like when your first running back is round 5.
I'm just saying up to now, they're 0.
Up to now. That's true.
Like up to now, they're 0. And that's all I care about. I really don't care how people classify that shit.
I do.
Like, oh, it's got to be this or that. Like for me, it's really about what are you doing in your first 3 rounds? And then that dictates what you do in your next 3 rounds. And that dictates what you're really doing in your next 3 rounds.
You're not.
So he's taking it all the way down to the wire here, though. So he's thinking pretty hard.
Also, Dwayne, side note, but you brought it up on Twitter. You are in over 250 managed leagues. That's a fact?
I'm totally messing with you, man.
Oh my god!
I was just messing with you.
You said it so seriously.
Dude, yeah, I know. I was just messing with you. Yeah, no, it's like 200. It's like 230 something best ball teams, and I'm scheduled for about 20 managed.
That's reasonable. So, okay, yeah, like same.
I was just doing it to mess with you. Yeah.
I was literally spending time.
I just left it hanging there though, like it was real. Some people probably could you imagine my life? I would be. I would be deceased.
I was like, how efficient are you with waivers? Because if maybe I
would have I let ChatGPT do all my waivers.
I was like, what if he's so good he can do 1 minute waivers per league? That's still like a 4-hour commitment every single.
Bro, I'll be honest. I am so sweating Malik Neighbors here. I'm sweating it. Who's our backup plan? Is it just Rashee Rice? Is it we just say F it? Let's just take him.
Chris Olave, Debo Samuel, Nico Collins right off the board. Yeah, this tier is shrinking in a hurry. How are you feeling about the Ayuk situation, Dwayne? Something that we know we just haven't talked about at all for the last, 4 weeks.
Well, look, I mean, we know what he is at the 49ers. I just still feel like he's most likely a 49er. If he goes to the Steelers, I think that's a slight downgrade. If somehow he went to the Commanders, which, I mean, they've been wanting a receiver in return, so it kind of feels weird that, like, it feels like maybe Dotson would have been part of the deal instead of them sending him to the Eagles. But if I were the 49ers, I'd rather have a 3rd-round pick than Jahan Dotson at this point. If he went there, I think that would. Oh my God, really?
Neighbors off the board to Chris Olave and
ever to do that. See, this is a sharper room than last night.
That's okay. We got our RBs. We'll be fine. Hopefully Jalen Waddle falls to us. Come on. That'd be fine.
Yeah, I was sweating it. I just felt that Neighbors was going to go.
Felt that shot to the gut. That's what getting sniped feels like. Well, it wasn't an exact snipe, but you guys know how it goes.
Yeah, so the question here is if we want to take Waddle, right? Is Waddle still here? He is, right? Yeah. If we want to try to get Waddle and come back and see if Rashee falls, because we know Waddle's not falling back.
Right.
But knowing how sharp this room has looked so far,
I'm Waddle or Rashee. I think I lean Waddle anyway.
He's the only way we get a chance to get 2 of them.
There's no chance we get Rice then Waddle. We could maybe get Waddle.
Yes.
Rice. Yeah.
And I'm with you. They're close enough anyway.
Kamara, what the hell?
All right, so Waddle.
Yeah.
That's good. We need that kind of pick. We need those guys to take the running backs now. Yeah. All right, so we're taking Waddle?
Huge. Yes, Jalen Waddle.
Jalen Waddle, come on down. And we're going to cross some fingers here Hartitz. Rashee Rice is way down the queue. I mean, way down the queue. Would you have been willing? I don't think I would. But like Derrick Henry was there. Man,
Middle round 3.
They love ETN over here.
Dude, if we went
no, I think Waddle's the easy pick. Like if a guy like Kyron fell to there, I might. There goes Ayuk.
Yeah, no chance on Kyron. Derrick Henry, man, is so tough. Here's my thing that I do worry about. We're just assuming Henry's going to have these runways, man. And that Ravens O-line lost a lot of starters. They weren't all that dominant last year. I mean, yeah, Lamar made things happen and everything. And I guess they don't need to be as dominant as some of these other lines because I understand what Lamar does, the gravity of the DN stuff and the read option stuff. But, it's one of those situations where we're all just kind of assuming the Baltimore O-line is going to remain, elite. And I don't think they necessarily even were last year, let alone this year. So Henry goes off the board anyway, a couple picks later, Ayuk and Derrick Henry right after us. So a moot point, but yeah, Dwayne, I don't know. I was drafting Henry a little bit more earlier in the offseason. I don't want to say I've come to my senses. We'll find out, who is right or wrong, but I haven't been making too big of a habit of clicking them. Usually it's between him or Achane, and, I'm taking the younger, speedier Dolphins playmaker.
Yeah, we're on the same page.
Look at that, man. Lily is snoring behind me, so
I don't hear her. That's your mic's muting Lily. Where's Bruh at?
Bruh is upstairs with Mrs. Hartitz. She is quite the sleeping dog. Had to go to the vet and get some shots today. Eventful day in the Hartitz household. Dwayne, I got my first ever birdie on the golf course and then chucked my to the sky. It was amazing, man. Nice. I wish I could say it was like this, perfect hole from start to finish, but no, I freaking shanked my drive way out of bounds, like not out of bounds, but into the rough and the right. And then I tried to hit my 9 up in the air and I literally like skimmed it. And this thing somehow, by the grace of the golf gods, goes like on the ground 10 feet from the freaking pin. And then I actually made a somewhat hard putt to freaking close it out. So electric day, next hole, immediately hit my next ball into the woods. So that's a PBFU, as I was alerted, a post birdie FU from the golf gods themselves. So fun day out there.
Nice. James Cook going. This is what we need. We need these guys to take these backs.
Yeah, Michael Pittman going pretty high as well. Still have some very good wide receivers available. Devonta Smith, DJ Moore, Stephon Diggs, and a certain someone that if he comes back to us in round 4, Dwayne, would be absolutely
We're not saying it, are we? We're not saying it today.
We got him in round 4.
We did it. We did. We can't say it again.
No.
I'm going to have to make you draft at least one Trey McBride team. Like I would draft Trey McBride every time, but you have to draft him at least one time with me.
I'm down. It's nothing against Trey.
Dude, I like Andrews too, but I lean a little more to Trey.
Andrews is a little bit cheaper. Kyle Pitts,
Josh Jacobs.
I'm not gonna lie, like Trey McBride. A lot of times in best ball, I'm taking Patrick Mahomes. Like if that kind of question.
No, I feel you. I feel you on that. Yeah. So the other name, like we'll just keep in mind here for later, like they could just break a league, like on the kind of team we've built, is Xavier Worthy.
Yeah.
So let's just keep him. Like honestly, once Pickens and I got to get Higgins over in our queue.
I know it's just the preseason, man, but you could already see just how freaking fast Worthy is and just the fear he puts in. Like one bad step, man, and it's over.
Yeah.
Shout out.
I'm with you. So I've got our queue right now: Rashee Rice, DK Metcalf, DJ Moore, Tank Dell, Zay Flowers, George Pickens, T. Higgins, and Terry McLaurin are the receivers I have in the queue. And then I had Kelsey. He just went, but I've got Trey McBride and Mark Andrews also in the queue. We have to get one of these wide receivers.
Yeah. Before we go.
Yeah, we have to get one.
Hopefully it's
so we're either going 2 wide receivers or a wide receiver and a tight end. Going 2 running backs early, elite quarterback is definitely out. Plus, that's just the position where you and I are probably the most comfortable waiting.
Yeah. We'll see. Never say never, but we're certainly not taking one in the next 2 rounds. Maybe we get Mr. Ride or Die, Kyler Murray himself.
Maybe. If we get McBride.
That'd be pretty cool. I'd be down. All right, guys, we are 4 picks away. As Dwayne mentioned, we are looking heavy into the wide receivers here because that's what happens when you take Brees Hall, Devon Achane, and then, our guy Jalen Waddle to start. But potentially tight end in round 5. I will say usually, Dwayne, like round 4 is when I've been okay going elite at tight end or quarterback. Haven't made a consistent habit of doing it in round 3. Okay, maybe at the turn, I have an A.J. Brown team. I'm like, all right, give me Jalen Hurts here at the end of round 3, and I'll get someone in the early parts of round 4. Not going to make that big of a difference. But for me, really, round 4 is when I plan on doing it. I think it's okay in round 3. Like you're not just, messing up your entire roster, but usually round 4 and preferably even round 5 if you can.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm with you. And I wrote, we got another article coming out tomorrow. This really just like the overarching guidelines. And you and I, obviously we'll be doing a show. By the time the folks hear this, it'll already be out. But I talk about that sweet spot in rounds 4 through 7. The real challenge there is you can't take your elite quarterback and tight end if you're playing in a league that starts 3 wide receivers or 2 flex. If you're playing in a league that, is 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, 1 tight end, you might be able to pull it off. I still don't think it's like the ideal build, but I think you need to get one of your elite onesie players, tight end or quarterback, in rounds 3 to 6. And then whichever one rounds 4 to 6. And then whichever one you don't get, the position, you go in round 7 and 9. So typically I'm doing the tight end and then I'm getting the quarterback in 7 to 9. I know, right in front of us. All right. Tank Dell, man.
Oh, that hurt. That hurt.
Yeah. It's okay. Tank Dell, though, just sitting here.
Tank Dell versus T. Higgins.
I like Tank Dell, but I like both players. Who's higher in the queue?
Who's higher in the queue?
I don't know.
Wasn't sure if you're waiting on me.
Tank Dell is down there in the queue. So if you want a chance at both, it's Higgins here.
I kind of like Higgins, man. I just think it's a little bit more condensed offense. Burrow versus Stroud. I think they're both going to put up a ton of yards.
I'm good with it.
And honestly, man, God forbid something does happen with Chase, Higgins is jumping up 2 rounds, between now and
for sure
whenever that happens. So
yeah, I think that contingency alone is enough. The guy, obviously Fam is doing what we did last night. He went Jefferson, London, Ayuk, Rashee Rice. Nice. So he's going 0. And Rashee Rice just sticks out like a sore thumb, honestly, for that.
That's the typical reaction, though, Dwayne. I've been saying it. Whoever gets Rashee Rice, wherever they draft him, I'm like, man, good pick. Good pick, Charles Fam. I'm mad you made it, but it was a good pick. It's what we would have done.
Yeah, so I think coming back now, it's we've got Tank Dell, George Pickens, Terry McLaurin, Trey McBride, Mark Andrews. There's 7 picks until us. So, there's a chance all of those are gone. So we need to talk about like a contingency plan. I think it's Xavier Worthy.
I'm cool with Worthy. Honestly, I wouldn't hate passing on tight end for another round or 2.
Yeah, you could talk me. You could talk me into Xavier Worthy over like everyone on the planet right now. Like it wouldn't be hard.
What about Jalen Wright? Is it too early for
well,
we have Achane, so
let's try to get a little value out of him. It's a pretty sharp room though. Like we've only got 1 quarterback gone. And it's Josh Allen. He went in round 3, but everybody else held off from Jalen Hurts, Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson. Those guys are all still on the board. So wide receivers are just going a lot earlier than what we saw last night. I really enjoy drafting over here because I can really tell that people are all having to draft off their own stuff.
Yeah.
Because the queue is not in order of ADP, unless there's some weird way to do that I haven't figured out yet, but I've looked all at this queue and haven't been able to figure that out. So I think people are literally you're either drafting off this site's projections, which tonight people are not following the queue as much. Mm-hmm. So that's something you have to watch for when you're drafting. And you pretty much, and I talked about this on the last draft show, you're going to know in the first few rounds if people are drafting from this queue or if they've got their own lists. And then that should really kind of help you think a little bit about the way players are here. Like you're still going to like look at the queue and see who's further up because I think all things equal, they're going to probably do the same thing if they're sharp drafters. So yeah, I think it's Tank Dell, or Worthy
McLaurin off the board. Would you have been okay with Terry over Tank Dell? Is the Jahan Dotson news enough to kind of do that? Because I mean,
just because I don't think Jahan Dotson was taking anything from Terry McLaurin. You know what I mean?
fair.
I just think Terry McLaurin is the same. Like he was already the clear wide receiver one. There goes Dell. Yeah.
Fair enough.
Dell, man, is just, God, so much freaking upside with that dude. I think Xavier Worthy is the same thing if we can get him.
Oh, no, I don't hate
So
it.
I'll feel pretty good if we get Xavier Worthy here. If not, there goes Kenneth Walker. This is value, in my opinion, on Trey McBride. But we would still need 2 more flex players.
Yeah.
Which my thought is if Xavier Worthy. So here's the thing. Again, Xavier Worthy is the more likely player to get back to us if we want to take one of these elite tight ends here.
Mm-hmm.
So Worthy, just looking at it again, people are going to have their own lists, but he's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 players down. And there's still other guys we like. We got Deontay Johnson sitting here, Jaden Reed, Christian Watson, Jackson Smith and Jigba. There's a lot of other wide receivers. Man, freaking Jalen Hurts still sitting here. Good God. Zamir White.
Take him. Go right ahead.
All right, so 1 pick until us. There goes Mahomes.
Ooh.
That's good. So they'll start taking the quarterbacks. I think we take the tight end, man.
I'm okay. I'm okay with it.
Feeling it.
You talk. It's mid-round 5. Trey McBride. You said it before. You're gonna make me get him on a team. Not that I'm super against Trey McBride, but let's do it. Let's get Trey McBride. Okay, I didn't. Dwain clicked it before I even had to say it twice.
I didn't want you to change your mind. Now, here's the thing. Like, if we miss on Worthy, there are other receivers I still like. Like, I really want Worthy on this team, but we're not. Mark Andrews and Dalton Kincaid aren't coming back, right? So we're not getting another Trey McBride, in my opinion. Now, watch, they're going to both be here at our next pick, but I don't think that's going to happen. And I just don't think these. So I think Jalen Hurts and Lamar Jackson are about to come off the board because the value is just too much. There goes Kincaid to the 0 RB drafter. And so, I mean, we kind of expected that.
Yeah.
Just because Raheem Mostert just went in round 4, guys. Rashad White went in round 4, then Kenneth Walker round 5, Zamir White in round 5. So they're just it didn't make sense for him to go running back there. The value for him was also at tight end.
And that's why, too, after seeing what we did yesterday, that I was fine getting Breece and Achane. We weren't going to take freaking, Rashad White in round 2 like we actually saw a team do yesterday. Like, if we are going to build the superhero RB team, they need to be actual superheroes, Dwain. And I think we both believe Breece Hall and Devin Achane can indeed be those guys. So I'm more than fine with how it's shaping up because, again, it's like the way the running backs are being pushed up, I almost think it's more important than ever to actually get 1 or 2. I mean, you texted me before we got going here basically saying that you were excited to draft a running back for the first time in maybe decades.
Yeah. I mean, I felt leaving that draft last night. Now, this one's gone a little different. I just felt like hero. If you made me guess today what the winning lineup of the $500,000 is going to be, my guess is it's going to be a hero running back draft. Maybe actually, I think it's probably going to be a superhero since that's what we've started here. But that would be my guess. Just because the running backs all go so early. And now the other flip side of it is you're getting all this value at receiver. So we really need some of that to come back to us though tonight. This draft's going a little bit different. Like last night, I sent you the screenshot after, and I was like, it's kind of weird. I'm sitting here looking at it. All these running backs. There goes George Pickens. That's a really good pick this late. All these running backs going this late or going this early, and you basically had between round 3 through round 7, 6 or 7, wide receivers were all a half to a round and a half off versus what you're typically looking at, if you're playing on some of the other big sites, or especially if you're used to drafting best ball. Look at Mark Andrews is still sitting there.
Jalen Hurts finally off the board there at the freaking 5'10" spot. Usually don't see that good value there. And I'm sure the AJ Brown manager now picking, not too pleased about just missing out on Jalen, but that's life in the big cities sometimes. So Deontay Johnson off the board. That sucks. I was hoping him or
I kind of wanted him as just to be sitting there just in case kind of thing.
I feel similarly about Ridley though. It's a little bit less clear, but I almost, Levis versus Bryce Young, sadly, is
You
kind
could
of
talk me into
a
Brian
question.
Thomas Jr. over Ridley.
Ooh.
I just like his quarterback better. Odunze is definitely getting in our damn queue.
Yeah. You go Dunze over Ridley?
Yes, I would.
You don't think Ridley
if you
could just
told
double
me,
his targets?
yeah, I do think that, but I just like Odunze so much more.
All right.
Like I would take Ridley just doesn't get me excited. I'm scared to death of Will Levis. I'm not gonna lie. He petrifies me.
Dude,
He
did you see
absolutely petrifies me.
the
Look at
tweet?
that turn, Mark Andrews and Lamar Jackson.
That's fun.
Wow, that late. That is. We would have been doing cartwheels to get that.
If only they had more than one wide receiver at this point. Just saying.
That's gonna make it tough. There goes James Conner. That was
But
our round 5 pick last night. So
Yeah.
we don't really know where James Conner goes, but we knew we needed someone. So that makes me feel good. So he goes round 6 here.
But no, there was some tweet about Will Levis's training camp completion percentage, and it was horrendous. I mean, what was going on there? Like we're hearing Jalen
film on him, man. He can make some amazing throws, but like the overall body of work is some wild, crazy shit.
And it's a lot of fun to watch, but it might not be fun to watch him throw to your fantasy wide receivers. That's kind of, the Will Levis experience over there. So, hey, he got old man Hopkins over 1,000 yards. That was a good time, but let's face it, also had a lot of unrealized air yards out there that weren't exactly doing a ton of favors as well. So Hopkins is someone, Dwain, who might not be a bad guy on this team if he does fall a little bit. I think he's going to be ready for week 1. I don't think this is something that's
I agree. I've moved him up
out
a little bit in the ranks yesterday. I moved him up, so
we are 4 picks away from Dwain and I being 2 very happy fellas if we can happen to get a certain.
So let's be ready here. This is the queue order I have: Xavier Worthy, Keenan Allen, Jaden Reed. I need to get Christian Kirk in here.
I was about to say, where do you fall on Christian Kirk versus the rookies?
I like the upside of the rookies. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I don't know. Like Christian Kirk, I know what he is. He's gonna get 21% target share. And he's gonna have some really nice games. But he's not gonna lose us this league. But he's not gonna win it, and he just went.
Good. Don't even have to worry about it then. The one thing I will say with Kirk that I found kind of wild when I was doing the team previews. I mean, he had 22 targets inside the 20-yard line, red zone targets. That's what they call it, you freaking idiot, Ian. But 22 targets in the red zone in 2022. Last year, 5. So, I mean, it really was a situation where Ridley took all of those design looks near the goal line from him. And maybe without, they go back to him. But then again, they had 2 big body wide receivers in Brian Thomas Jr. and Gabe Davis. It's enough to me to, again, scare me away just a little bit from drafting too much Christian Kirk. So I am with you there, my friend.
These drafts are wild, man. Like some of the running backs that are gone, but like David Montgomery's still here. It's just kind of trippy to me, There goes Kyle Pitts.
Come on. Don't do it to us again, Charles.
Yeah, this guy, I think he's going to take it back.
He's already got 4 wide receivers. You don't want to draft another wide receiver.
Yes. All right, Xavier Worthy. Come on.
Xavier freaking Worthy, Dwain. Let's go. Let's go.
Let's do it.
All right. Round 6, Xavier Worthy. It's, I'm sure someone's going to show this clip in 8 weeks when Xavier Worthy has
it's not even playing
performance, right? But hey, in the moment, we're thrilled.
Let's go. So I think the player to talk about here though is where are you on Keenan Allen? Because I honestly at this point, look, I love Rome Odunze and I want him on this team, but I will say it's not because I don't like Keenan Allen. And we have seen old slot receivers, Hines Ward, Larry Fitzgerald was way older than Keenan Allen is now, putting up wide receiver 1 and wide receiver 2 seasons. And we've all agreed that we like Caleb Williams, right?
Yeah.
So, and if right now what they're telling us is that Keenan Allen is going to play all the time. So, I don't know, man. It's again, I love Odunze, but I still think that would I be surprised if Keenan Allen had an 85 catch season still? I would not.
Dude just had 95 yards per game, had ESPN's single highest open rating.
It was his best fantasy season ever, I think.
Look,
fantasy points per game.
I love throwing in some absurd weight estimates as much as the next guy that spends too much time on Twitter and everything. But come on, man. He's fine. Right? I think he's fine.
So I think it's there he goes.
There he
So we
goes.
don't have to worry about it.
Love when that happens, kind of.
Yeah. But I mean, we've got Jaden Reed, Rome Odunze, Calvin Ridley, and Brian Thomas Jr.
BTJ
in the queue. Backup plans. I'll go ahead and put Christian Watson over there.
Anthony Richardson, Kyler Murray, moving you at all?
Dude, hey, technically, we're out of rounds 4 through 6. So if Anthony Richardson falls to us, we could. We could. I really think we should take another wide receiver.
I think you're right. We have ones I still like. That's the thing.
Yeah, and we have the tiers are about to really dry up on the wide receivers, and we're so comfortable with, and maybe we're over comfortable with like the way our backup plan can work at quarterback. That could like be our Achilles heel. But I'll be honest, I'd much rather be trying to scratch around and figure out how to replace freaking Jaden Daniels than trying to. There are no more Rome Odunzes on the planet.
Yeah.
Like there's only the one that we're about to draft.
And there was some wild, like late quarterbacks going in the draft we had yesterday. I mean, Aaron Rodgers, Deshaun Watson, round 18, Matthew Stafford, round 16, Trevor Lawrence, round 13. So not saying they're all going to work out. We have them ranked where they are for a reason. But man, as much as there were, Dwayne, several teams taking 2, even 3 quarterbacks out there, which I don't get. Looking at it right now, team that drafted Jalen Hurts yesterday also took Brock Purdy and Bo Nix. I don't know why people do that, but I do think, again, there's enough of these guys. Because once you get past Jaden Daniels and Caleb, I mean, okay, I like Tua there. I like Brock Purdy there, but is there that big of a difference between them and Kirk Cousins and Aaron Rodgers? I don't really think so.
Yeah. I will say, like, we know Anthony Richardson's really – the quarterbacks are falling in this draft is what's happening. How many times will we get a chance to draft Anthony Richardson in round 7? I don't know the answer to that question.
Yeah.
There goes Jaden Reed.
Where did he go yesterday?
Jaden Reed?
No, Anthony Richardson. He went at the beginning of round 6.
Yeah. So we're going to be a round and a half past that.
It's not bad.
But man, I honestly, like, I say we take the wide receiver, but if you – I will say this. It is enough value that if you said, Dwayne, I want my Anthony Richardson share, like I would take it right here. Put all the pressure on you. You're like, damn.
No, I'm half hoping.
So the thing
that's
here's the issue. The issue is if we pass this tier of receivers, coming back, we could be faced with like J-Mo as our wide receiver 4. That
we could get Kyler in round 8 potentially. Like that could happen.
Yeah, there goes Kittle.
Let's go with the
on us.
Rome.
We go on Rome.
I'm cool with Rome.
That's who I think it is.
Rome Odunze.
Fuck yeah.
Back-to-back nights. Come on down. I mean, I don't know. Rome Odunze, number 1 wide receiver in a hell of a lot of classes. I know he wasn't in this one. Attached to Caleb Williams. What if the number 9 overall pick is really freaking good at football, Dwayne?
Yeah, bro. Well, look. What if Keenan Allen goes down in week 1? Not that we want that to happen. What if Keenan Allen wins the mega lottery, whatever? So I don't play the lottery. What's it called? The Super Bowl or the whatever, where all the states come together and you can win like $1 billion, like when it gets to its biggest prize. Maybe Keenan Allen wins $1 billion.
The one thing I never understood about that is people will be like, oh man, the lottery's at $1 billion. Like now we have to enter. Like pretending that the 600 million it was a couple weeks ago wasn't good enough life-changing money.
Now it's worth it.
So whatever, people want to have their pools at work and stuff. Go right ahead. I throw plenty of parlays down that aren't going to win. So I just think it's funny how that's kind of the time where it gets everyone excited. So Calvin Ridley off the board, a few picks after us. Zach Moss off the board, 1 pick after Rome Odunze, going ahead of Chase Brown. Dwayne, we had not some pushback, but I guess a little bit of pushback. Some folks were wondering why we did take Chase Brown over Zach Moss, after we posted our draft last night. And
Michael Salfino from over at The Athletic. So if you guys haven't read Michael's stuff, you probably already know who he is.
But yeah, and I mean, I agree with kind of your statement where, no, I don't have this super strong lean in Chase Brown over Zach Moss. But for me, PPR and the fact he was our RB2, I do feel like Chase Brown's best case scenario is higher than Zach Moss's.
I agree. I think sometimes we probably overestimate our ability to say what upside is, but what I think we translate it to is Chase Brown is super fast and explosive and if everything went right. And so he has this upside to also hit big plays, right? That Zach Moss can't. But I think you and I also openly acknowledge the potential issues with Chase Brown, which is like he's had real struggles reading the offensive line, reading the line of scrimmage and picking the right holes. And those are things that can frustrate coaches. We've seen a lot of running backs over the years that we thought are really good, explosive players that like we're like, hey, we're in on these players. And we've seen them, Miles Sanders is a great example. Miles Sanders is a great athlete, just could never read the line. DeAndre Swift just struggled with that a little bit. So those kind of things, like they can get you. But it's a young player. We had a really small sample on him last year. And we've had a few runs this preseason. So the other thing I don't want to do is overreact. But my thought on the Bengals backfield is you should be I think you want some shares of each if you're going to draft a bunch of teams. If you're going to draft one or two teams and you're trying to place your chip, I think it's okay to place it either. But I do agree with you. Like if I was forced, like Girl Scout sauntering to the door, and I have to just pick one, and I'm only getting to draft one Bengal running back for my whole fantasy season, I do think I'm going to take Chase.
I mean, over the last 10 years, there has been an average of 1.9 backfields per season that do have multiple top 24 players. So I'm not saying the Bengals are the most likely. I mean, we'll give Miami, Detroit the benefit of the doubt. But after that, I mean, I do think it's Pittsburgh, Cincinnati, Tennessee has a chance, maybe a little bit lesser. But I mean, there are some situations where I do think that uncertainty is kind of driving them down. And that's how we got the value in Miami. Because guess what? If we knew beyond a shadow of a doubt, like if we had, the Bengals come out tomorrow and say, Zach Moss is our guy, we got him knowing he was going to replace Joe Mixon, Chase Brown's role isn't going to change. If we knew that, all of a sudden Zach Moss shoots up 3 or 4 rounds. So I do think you have that extra layer of contingent upside where once we do know who these guys are, they can shoot up. Now they can also shoot down if we pick the wrong one. But hey, we're making this bet in round 7, round 8, not round 3.
Yeah, I think we made a really good decision here.
This is crazy.
If Anthony Richardson makes it back here,
got to.
Yeah, I think it's a slam dunk.
Although I know you're looking and seeing that 2 teams already have quarterbacks. But
yeah, but at this point in round 8, I'm not passing Anthony Richardson.
We already got our 4 wide receivers. We got a super.
Don't get me wrong. There's receivers and running backs we like here. Yeah. But Anthony Richardson, you're not going to get him in round 8.
No.
So I think he probably goes before it gets to us. My guess is Fam is taking him. He's got his 4 wide receivers. He's got his elite tight end. He's got his 2
same position as us. It's just flipped.
Exactly. So he's probably taking him. And that's okay. Like we could also just go Kyler because we've got McBride, but man, Brian Thomas is the name screaming in my face right now.
Look, team 1 or team 3 could certainly take Kyler. You don't need to stack them up and redraft or, necessarily a best ball, but Kyler could potentially come back to us. I mean, look, Dwain, at the Q, I'm not saying people were drafting off it, but I mean, they have Kyler beneath Jordan Love, CJ Stroud, Joe Burrow, Dak Prescott.
There goes Jaylen Warren. Had him in our Q too. Like, not that we would go running back, but if we did, that would be a name. There goes Curtis Samuel. I'm really happy about us taking Romo Dunze with the last pick. This guy's taking Richardson. I feel it in my damn bones.
It's just happening. It's okay. I've already come to grips with it. It is what it is.
Well, I do have Richardson in the queue just in case. And I will not hesitate if you've already given the clearance.
No.
Is this a pound it? Like if he lets it come, we just take it. We're not talking.
It's not happening. It's all right, man.
All right. He just took Brian Thomas Jr., so I took it.
Let's go. Anthony Richardson, come on down. Holy shit. Round 8. Richardson?
Yeah, baby.
In this economy? Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Wow. That's electric. What a moment.
That is electric. That was cinema right there.
Dwayne, this is a pretty good draft we're building right now.
Yeah, and Brian Thomas Jr., the other guy we liked, went right in front of us. So good pick. But Fam knows what the hell he's doing. I'm just going to say that. We're drafting next to a pretty sharp player.
With Richardson, again, if we're taking another quarterback, Dwayne, it's going to be in round 18. It would be like the Aaron Rodgers sort of guy hanging out at that point. I drafted Richardson in Jake Seeley's flex league, and I remember I somehow got Tua with like the very last pick of the draft. But Richardson is firmly in play as someone who you do not, I repeat, do not need to take a second quarterback. And honestly, I have that same mindset all the way up to Jaden Daniels and Caleb Williams. Like, okay, at the very end of your draft, it's fine when you're deciding between, like, when you literally can't find a handcuff running back you like anymore, and there's still a quarterback that you think has some upside. At that point, fine. But we're going to start seeing, I'm assuming, people taking 2 in freaking round 11 and 12, and not for me when there are still legit other players that are being wide receiver that have some legit upside. Exact same reasoning as well with why we're not going to be taking a second tight end behind Trey McBride. We'll figure out the bye week later, man. It's 1 week in the season, whereas we could hit gold on one of these running backs and wide receivers who all of a sudden become a starter for us.
Yeah. I guarantee you Fam was torn between Richardson and Brian Thomas Jr. I guarantee you had the same 2 top people at the top of the queue, just because, like, the way we've built the team, like you said, he's the same as us, but flipped. Like, he had the same need as us. So yeah, dude, I really like the team. I want to get another wide receiver here. So I'm just looking, like, Marquise Brown. It's like Hopkins went.
Yeah.
Marquise Brown, like, you've got to wait a couple of weeks, but still, I think, like, this discount on Marquise Brown, I really like. Like, we know he's a player that we're going to feel fine. Look, we've got a huge tier break. I feel like it's Marquise Brown, or is Keon still here?
Get a third rookie wide receiver.
Yeah, that's why I was leaning to Marquise Brown.
Yeah, but I will say,
Keon is here, so I'm going to put him in the queue right behind Marquise Brown. So
like, I don't love the idea of it, but at the same time, man, look at the rookie wide receivers we're drafting. I mean, we got Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes throwing 2 of them to football, and the other one just went 9th, and we got Caleb Williams. Like, if there was going to be 3 rookie wide receivers to draft, this isn't the craziest time to do it.
Yeah, I agree.
We're going to have some,
and we can come back and get like some of these veteran dudes later. You got to remember, we are going to probably target Adonai Mitchell for our stack, since you told me he scored a touchdown and I wasn't watching that Colts game.
That's now that he scored that preseason touchdown, AD Mitchell, easy top 5 round wide receiver. That's how fantasy works.
He's gonna move up around.
I know, it's ridiculous. Dude, I thought one of our best picks yesterday was getting Josh Downs in, what was it, round 15.
Yeah. So let's talk here for a minute. So Marquise Brown and Keon Coleman are in play, but I also think, there he goes, Tajay Spears.
Was that who you were looking at?
He was one of them. But I've got Brian Robinson Jr. I've got Jonathan Brooks sitting here too.
It's interesting.
Talking about a player that you get to plug into your line later in the season.
We don't need him right now.
I know. This is the team to do it.
Yeah.
It's Keon Coleman, Marquise Brown, or Jonathan Brooks.
I think
Jonathan Brooks is at the top of this thing. I don't think we're getting any of them if we let them go.
But we're definitely not getting Jonathan Brooks. Dude, look where we got Brooks relative to some of these guys, too. Look, I'm not the biggest Brooks fan, but at this spot, let's go Jonathan Brooks.
All right.
Again, Nick Chubb went freaking early part of round 8. Jalen Moore, like Devin Singletary, Chase Brown, Tajay Spears, Brian Robinson Jr. Give me Jonathan Brooks over almost all those
we can
guys.
Come back and get Chuba Hubbard.
Yeah,
we want just for early season shit, man.
I don't hate that at all. I mean, look, handcuffing, I know in best ball it's frowned upon because, again, you're just trying to build that best case scenario single one lineup. But in redraft, bro, especially if you're able to get him super late, I don't think it's a bad thing at all. Dynasty as well. I mean, if you do want to go ahead and just kind of secure that backfield and you're confident in the 2 running backs you have, especially with Brooks and Hubbard, I mean, they just work so nicely side by side. So what is are we certain, though, that Chuba is going to be the lead guy over Miles Sanders? That'd be my only concern. He was definitely better last year, but, it is a new coach.
I mean, like, it sounds like that, but I mean, like, have you heard something different?
Not really.
Everything I've read has been Chuba, like, clearly ahead, and that Miles is like a major cut candidate. Like, I kind of figured we'd start hearing the Miles Sanders, like, actual trade rumors. I know, like, in Fantasyland, we talk about them because we, like, just want to, like, bring them to fruition. But I kind of thought we would, like, be legit hearing those things by now.
Well, also, as I'm looking up Chuba Hubbard, I mean, we might have missed this piece of news, Dwayne, but back in June, Coach Canales spring camp MVPs, Chuba Hubbard and our guy, Tommy Tremble.
Tommy Trembles.
CJ Stroud, Joe Burrow off the board. Man, Kyler's still available as we get into the later parts of round 9. That is some pretty wild value.
Marvin Harrison drafter just passed Kyler to take Brock Bowers as his second tight end.
Bold move, Cotton. We'll see.
I wouldn't do that.
See if it works out for him.
I would not do either.
I do think there's a slight chance we get one of these wide receivers coming back, but it really is Marquise Brown and Keon Coleman at this point that we're really looking at. Not saying we couldn't get, the need for Shaheed going later, Dontavian Wicks, but at this point, man. Kyler Murray goes finally off the board, one pick after CJ Stroud late into round 9. So I'll be interested to see how much this room is double tapping quarterbacks, because every time they do it, Dwayne, I'm happy, and I don't need to go into the whole spiel again, but it's already seeing a team with Kyle Pitts going with Brock Bowers. I mean, you were talking a little bit about Brock Bowers last night. How good would he have to be to actually warrant like flex treatment on a team like that?
Yeah, it's going to be tough to get him into flex. I like him as, you've waited. Oh, I love this. That dude just took his second quarterback. This is really good for us. This is what we need.
Just as I brought it up too, the team with Jalen Hurts takes Dak Prescott.
Yeah. So, and Kyler Murray went right before that. CJ Stroud before that. Yeah, I think you're going to really struggle to get Brock Bowers into your flex spot. Now, looking at his team, I mean, maybe like in a bye week or something. Jerome Ford just went. Maybe in a managed league, I should like Jerome Ford a little more. Like he gives you some of that flexibility early in the year. Oh my God, I just see like Jalen Wright turn into like 75 font in the cheat sheet.
I was waiting to see how long it took you to notice that one. Just wanted to make sure you didn't forget about it.
Yeah, I know.
I don't want you to start yelling at me like
I did not yell at you, for the record.
You did not yell. You're just sad. It was almost worse. I could tell you're disappointed.
I know you're like, Dwayne, you look like you're about to cry.
I know.
I'm like, I'm not about to cry. I'm just like, it was kind of a gut punch.
Jordan Love goes off the board to one of the last teams without a quarterback. So just 2 of them left. But the way some of these guys are drafting, who knows how much longer they will be lasting. So Marquise Brown did go off the board at the turn. Josh Palmer shortly afterwards. So Dwayne could be staring down the barrel of, our third rookie wide receiver. But Keon Coleman, middle of round 10, man. That's some pretty good value right there.
Yeah, I hated Marquise Brown going off the board there. These people over in this league do not like Keon Coleman. He fell last night. I mean, Josh Palmer just went ahead of him, for crying out loud.
Yeah, what are we doing, people? Where did he go last night? Let's see.
Yeah, he fell. He went after Khalil Shakir last night. I'll say, watching the film from the preseason, Shakir looks like their best wide receiver, but he's playing the least. So, I mean, preseason utilization doesn't always mean like that's what you're going to get in the season. But, I mean, I'd rather see a guy playing.
I mean, what if Josh Allen just does what he usually does, and that's throw for well over 4,000 yards and 30-plus touchdowns? And guess what? More than one wide receiver.
Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, I think that's kind of what we're being set up for. So, couple picks, Dwayne. Let's see who we got in the queue. Keon Coleman, A.D. Mitchell for later. We're not looking at him right now, but Rashid Shaheed, Jalen Polk, Blake Corum, Trey Benson, Rico Dowdle as well. So, is Shaheed in play for you right here?
Yes. Okay. Because we need receiver out of we have to take receivers in this tier. There goes Keon.
We have Brees, we have Achane, we even made a bet on Jonathan Brooks. So while there are some good handcuffs available like Blake Corum, Trey Benson, if we don't get Shaheed, Dwayne, really tough seeing another wide receiver to feel that.
Well, I think we take Shaheed or go ahead and take Mitchell here too. I don't really like who's higher in their queue. I'm looking at wide receiver. Like Adonai Mitchell, he's kind of down here. All right, this dude, Fam has been reading our draft strategy. He just took Jaden Daniels, so good pick by him.
Hold on, Fam.
I think we take Shaheed and just I don't want to get like too cute here.
I'm cool with that, dude. Shaheed get not 200, 120 targets this year. That actually could happen.
100 targets, sweet.
Hell yeah!
Here's the thing with Shaheed. He is actually one of the players that when I click on his name, I can see an upside scenario. Most of these other players down here, I struggle with that. Like, I don't see it for Brandon Cooks. I don't see it for Jerry Jeudy. I think they're fine players. But it's like, I just, I can't get there. Like with Shaheed, I could see him being the number 2 in New Orleans. And if they implement a lot of the stuff that we hope Clint Kubiak please, Clint Kubiak, please install these things and just hopefully you're just like not showing your hand like in the preseason because they're not doing a lot of that. But I just, the yards per route run, I know it's a small sample that's been there. So yeah, man, I like being in on players like that. I like Dontavian Wicks on this team.
Dude, they can't even figure out who's going to be a number 3 wide receiver in New Orleans.
But I don't care. If one of them goes down and this dude gets on the field, we'll be happy. And like the way we've built our team.
Yeah.
He makes a lot of sense. Like Wicks is almost like drafting Blake Corum at wide receiver. He is like a handcuff contingency play. If any one of he's going to get on the field anyway.
Yeah.
If any of the other guys go down, and we know Christian Watson's battled injuries, Jaden Reed's already, we're not saying, look, we're not on injury prone bust, but if there is a guy that we could say probably injury prone, it's Christian Watson. The
man literally had to regrow his hamstrings, right? I think we can say that he's a little bit more injury prone, the guys. All right.
Jalen Wright gone.
Wow.
Jesus. Could you make him a smaller font
now? Yes, I will make him smaller now. Sorry about that. It was a lot funnier when I thought we were going to get him.
Well, yeah, he went way later last night than this.
Jeez, late part of round 10 for Mr. Jalen Wright. Honestly, I mean, again, I mentioned before, I don't hate handcuffing yourself as much, but I'm taking Blake Corum over Jalen Wright 8 days of the week.
I agree. There's a clearer path here. I mean, the electricity of Jalen Wright, if either Achane or Mostert gets hurt, he could immediately be the next Achane or Mostert in a split backfield. Like he doesn't necessarily have to have both of them get hurt. Like in Miami's offense, one injury still makes you a really good player, but Blake Corum's one injury away from potentially having like a 70% freaking snap share.
Dude, it could be higher. It could be 80, 90. I mean, the way Sean McVay has actually done.
We're taking Blake Corum if he comes back.
Yes,
That's
we are.
You're saying.
Yeah, no, 100%. So I think Blake Corum, if he comes back, if Blake is not there.
What about Dowdle? And I've got Jalen Polk, Adonai Mitchell, Trey Benson, and Dontavian Wicks. Like I have a pretty small queue right now.
I haven't been drafting a ton of them, Dwayne, but I'm starting to lean a little bit Dontavian Wicks. On this team,
I agree. Like it's like how we're building. Yeah, Dowdle went. So
again, we got Waddle and T. Higgins. They're holding down our wide receiver 1 and wide receiver 2 spots. We feel great about that. And our other flex spots, again, I believe in Worthy. I believe in Odunze, but we have some legit lottery tickets potentially. If they could really reach some of that upside, same thing with Jonathan Brooks, same thing with Rashid Shaheed, I believe, to varying extents. I get it. But Dontavian Wicks gives us another guy where at this point in the draft, you just need to look at the wide receiver and say, is there a scenario where this guy will be at a point where he cannot leave our lineup? And that exists for Wicks. It's not the easiest, pathway to get there, but it's there, and we can get him in round 11. That's pretty rare for a wide receiver.
I agree. So I think this pick, we're now in lockstep here. It's Blake Corum or Dontavian Wicks. I think the backup plan is just to go ahead and take Adonai Mitchell.
Are we that confident AD's the guy over Josh Downs even?
No, but he has the talent and the upside that we're talking about. He is he is kind of like what you just talked about with Wicks. Like there goes Corum.
Yeah.
Where are you on Trey Benson? Because I feel like Trey Benson is like kind of the same thing as Blake Corum.
So
because he could be in play here too. Like if Wicks goes, we don't have to take Mitchell. I think Trey Benson would be a possibility.
I don't hate it. I mean, look, I'm not paying it, dude. He's one of the freakiest athletes that we've seen come out. I don't care that he didn't look that explosive in week 1 in the preseason. He also immediately looked better.
You have him in the same tier, right?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, so you've got him in the same tier. I do too.
You know what? I'd be okay with Trey Benson. I still lean Dontavian Wicks, I think.
Yeah. Benson's at the top.
I caught myself, Dwayne. Remember when I was worried about Dario Gumbawale and freaking, playing ahead of Travis Etienne? I was about to bring up Amari DiMercado, and I was like, you know what, Ian? Let's not do it again. Let's not do it again with these backup running backs with 4-syllable last names that are hard to pronounce. No.
So Wicks is the furthest down the list. Trey Benson just went.
Man. Okay.
So the other running back I have in the queue here is Charbonnet. I don't think we feel as strongly there.
No, he's also banged up.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's
all right. So Wicks.
Dontavian Wicks, We Know Ball award goes to us.
All right, let's do it.
Hell to the I'm just looking up on Charbonnet though, because I saw the Seahawks literally said he's dealing with something and like we're trying to figure it out. It wasn't exactly the greatest update that we've ever seen in the world. Okay, he did return to practice 2 days ago, so that's good at least.
Yes.
Dr. Deepak Chona, limited info suggests back tightness spasms. Returning soon. Yeah, we're good.
Definitely loading up the running back queue now.
Yes, at this point. I mean, this would be a nice team to have Chuba Hubbard on, man.
Yeah.
It definitely would. That's what happens when you.
Yeah, because like if we need to start a running back for some reason in week 3 because we've got a player dinged up, like Chuba, like I think we can feel pretty confident like he's going in the lineup.
6 wide receivers on the squad: Waddle, Higgins, Worthy, Dunze, Shaheed, and of course Dontavian Wicks. So at this point, Dwayne, probably going to take one more at some point. I would like it to be a Colts wide receiver, get Anthony Richardson, one of his pals, and everything, but. Yeah,
doesn't have to be. I agree with you.
More picks than not are going to be running back moving forward. Again, we technically don't have to. We found out last night we do not have to technically take a defense, special teams, or a kicker. I will say
I want to just so I don't have to because I don't want to deal. There goes Chuba. I don't want to have to worry about messing with going and making all the pickups before week 1.
Look, we'll look at the available players. If there's
yes.
Braylon Allen or Bucky Irving somehow still available there, but based on what we were seeing last night, man, I don't.
Bucky Irving ain't gonna be there. We might take him in round 12.
We're not gonna wait around and find that out. So
there goes Caleb Williams to the guy that waited to round 11 to take his starting quarterback.
Still one team without a quarterback as we, get into the mid parts of round 11.
And Purdy's still available.
Yeah, Purdy, T-Law, Tua, Jared Goff, Kirk Cousins. That's about what you're dealing with. And guess what? Maybe Purdy goes out there and puts up top 8 fantasy numbers again. I mean, he is the guy that we kind of get to at this point. So certainly don't hate the pick. And it is funny. I mean, the dude, wasn't a great interception, creating off script the other day. Didn't work out. I saw it, in the preseason. But my God, everyone, it's just crazy to me how Brock Purdy was literally a 4th and 1 stop by his defense away from winning the Super Bowl. And people are still, just doubting whether or not he should actually be a starting quarterback. So no, I don't think he's as good as freaking Patrick Mahomes. Spoiler alert, no one is. Even that, flag football quarterback who continues to go off about it, which, hey, standing up for himself. I respect it. But yeah, Brock Purdy, I think he's we've had enough, Dwayne, a year and a half of pretty much engineering one of the most efficient offenses in football. I think Brock Purdy is pretty good. So getting into round, again, late parts of round 11, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 more picks for us, Dwayne. So again, we're going to have a defense and special teams. We're going to have a kicker, probably one more wide receiver. Might end up drafting 5 or 6 more running backs.
Yeah, I think we have to get over on the running backs now. We've kind of put our chips on the wide receivers we want. I don't mind taking another guy. I mean, there are definitely names I like here. Tyler Lockett. Cool. Tyler Lockett being on the board this late, not that I want him, but kind of surprises me in this league.
Yeah.
Like I really thought he'd be gone by now. So
Pat Frymouth off the board, the Dallas Goedert team. Go ahead and take him, man. Gus Edwards off the board to a interesting team name. Yeah, here we go.
What is that? Gorilla Glue?
Yeah, we got some.
It's a weird spelling though.
What's our team?
Probably a last name.
Say when? Name. Is that another freaking quote from the movie?
Oh it is. God. I'm gonna keep doing them until you watch it. Actually, I think you have our next 3 signups, so it'll probably be like free Duke Johnson. You can't do that though, because people will know who you are.
Oh, you want to remain anonymous over here? It doesn't matter.
Well,
just
no, I'm trying to remain anonymous. That's why we record these instead. I get tired of getting ball punched.
People snipe me on Greg Dortch now, thinking that they're getting to me. I've created a hilarious loophole that saves me like 1 or 2 picks of ADP.
Where it gets you is on players like Jaden Daniels.
Yeah.
When you set everything up to make that happen, it's those kind of like core strategy players to why I would rather remain anonymous.
That's fine. I certainly prefer recording these versus going live and shouting out to the world. Hey, come look at this draft. Come take all of our picks.
Well, I feel much more comfortable about us having these strategy conversations.
Yeah.
About thinking ahead and like, when you're recording live, and other people are watching your stream, you're almost forced just to talk about players, And that dude just turned Adonai Mitchell and Josh Downs down there.
What the hell?
So, yeah, I don't know.
That was the Lamar and Mark Andrews team. Started off strong with 3 running backs in his first 4 picks: Saquon, JT, and Josh Jacobs. Got Devonta Smith in there as well. And then his last 5 picks: Christian Watson, DeAndre Hopkins, Marquise Brown, and then Josh Palmer, AD Mitchell, and Josh Downs. So
doing what he has to do. He spent draft capital early on running back. A tad ill-advised. I thought he was over-exuberant in that, but he's come back and he's attacked the wide receivers. You spent the draft capital early on one position and now you're attacking the other position as you move forward. So I think that's the sharp move. Christian Watson, we know could come on. You already talked about DeAndre Hopkins probably being underpriced at this point. Marquise Brown, he got an injury discount on that. Josh Palmer, maybe the wide receiver 1 on the Chargers. And then, he just basically threw a dart just now at the turn with the Colts saying, well, is it Adonai Mitchell or Josh Downs? That's going to be maybe a guy that could break out for them. So, yeah, the dude got Mark Andrews and Lamar Jackson at the turn. So I think he's done the right thing. He took the 3 running backs, turned the tight end quarterback combo at a discount and attacked the wide receivers.
Again, on a team without Richardson, I don't love getting those Colts wide receivers. I was a little hesitant.
I take one,
but I think the way he's gone about the roster construction, to your point, is perfectly fine. Even if we disagree a little bit on the exact players. Again, we're not. Guess what? Up until this year, we haven't been 100% on player takes. So it's one of those things.
We're gonna do it this year.
This year we got it for sure. So Tyler Algier, Marshawn Lloyd, he still exists. Jalen Paul, Kamani Vidal.
I was kind of hoping
Ty Chandler would have been cool, obviously.
Charbonnet and Ty Chandler were at the top of our queue. Yeah. All right, so I've got Tyler Algier, same thing as Ty Chandler, except behind obviously Aaron Jones is a bigger injury risk than Bijan, but like major lotto ticket if something happens to Bijan.
I would love sprint with the ticket to get Tyler Algier.
Okay.
He's good, man.
If he goes, I've got Tyrone Tracy. Bucky Irving, dude, just went in front of us. Wow.
That's fun. I mean, I would have liked to get him.
I really love him. The thing with Bucky Irving, right, is he's got that path to potentially take the job away from somebody, but we can get Ray Davis with our next pick. He has the same thing.
You don't think Algier's just going to yank away Bijan's job? Have a little bit of belief in our guy.
Maybe, man. I'm wearing a Jets hat. I'm wearing a Brees Hall hat right now, so I'm okay with it for tonight.
I will note with Algier, I know some people just see the 3.7 yards per carry and, assume he sucks. He did have a top 6 rate of, facing A+ defenders in the box last season. Also, another stat I like to look at, as much as yak, yards after contact, that we can agree that's, a good skill for running backs to have. But I do think it gets skewed a lot of the times by guys breaking a tackle at the line, then running for 50 yards. And guess what? That's 50 yards after contact, when I like to think of it more so as something of who can, push the piles and consistently churn out those extra yards after contact. So I've looked at highest percentage of carries to get at least 2 yards after contact. And number 1 last year was none other than Tyler Algier. So also joined Derrick Henry and Tajay Spears as the only 3 running backs with PFF grades north of 70 as a rusher, receiver, and pass blocker. I mean, we saw it down the stretch of, pre-Bijan, but in 2022, man, he was a freaking league-winning running back, arguably during the final 4 or 5 weeks of that season after my guy CPAC kind of got displaced as a starter. So Tyler Algier, round 12. And I mean, Dwain, I don't even think we talked about today on the Fantasy Life show. I don't think he's getting the 15 freaking touches per game that, some Falcons beat reporters are theorizing, but it could be something a little more similar to last year when, he racked up 200+ touches, even 150 touches at this point in the draft. We'll sign up for that. Yeah,
for sure. Thinking about Algier, like the ceiling is just like, if something did happen, we don't want anything to happen to Bijan, but would you be ranking him as a running back 1 immediately if something did happen to Bijan?
I think he's in the same handcuff tiers like Blake Corum and Trey Benson.
I agree. He's just he's not the younger player. I agree. Right. Yeah, I'm with you. Yeah, same page. All right, so there went Marshawn Lloyd. Brock Purdy just went. So I think we got to stay on the running back here.
We have 4: Brees, Achane.
I will say, like this late, you could get me to click on Tyler Lockett.
Man. I mean, he still out-targeted JSN last year.
I know.
I don't think he looked horrible.
I got Jalen Polk in the queue as well. Like those would be the only 2 wide receivers I would be willing to take. The running backs I have in the queue: Ray Davis, Tyrone Tracy, Khalil Herbert, Braylon Allen. I know they don't sound and we have Breece Hall. They don't sound sexy, but the problem is they're going to keep going. You know what I mean? Like these people are not going to stop taking them. And then we get to the next pick and it's like, oh my God, now look at them. We don't want to take them again. So it's like, I don't know. We probably need a running back, but I'm just acknowledging the 2 receivers that are here and like they at least need to be part of the conversation.
I don't love searching Tyler Lockett on Twitter, and first thing is Tyler Lockett still not practicing. Yeah, not the best.
And he's old, and his game is deteriorated. There's no doubt about it.
He still had some, he had that blow up game against, I think, the Lions in week 2 last year. He still had a couple weeks, but it's one of those things where I just think we're never going to be thrilled and like, oh, okay, for sure. Lockett's got our wide receiver 2 spot. No problem.
There went Tyrone Tracy.
Yeah, that sucks. So it is getting late in the draft.
I think Ray Davis is the pick if he gets here. I know there's a little thing about, he's probably still like in a 2A, 2B thing with Ty Johnson. But like for where we are, like I just want to take the young running back on a team where we have seen Jonathan Mingo. Now that's a pick in round 13. Woo. Gonna have to scroll down.
Mingo, my God.
I do think he's the starting 3rd receiver right now on the team, but he's also looked like complete crap.
I mean, how long is he?
I think he is for now. I think Liggett takes the 3rd job, but Liggett's the injuries I think are keeping him out of the lineup because he's not ready.
Yeah, that's fair. It was unfortunate he had that foot issue and wasn't able to get out there more quickly. But Braylon Allen off the board. Yeah, look, Ty Johnson is finally back at practice, I think, but Ray Davis has been showing out. They took him for a reason. And Ty Johnson's one of those guys, too, where he might just be what he is. He might kind of be in that just complimentary role where something happens and his role isn't.
Ray Davis?
So, yeah, I'm cool with Ray Davis. Boom.
Right, cool. Yeah, I think we needed the back there.
And again, at this point in the draft, as we get into the mid part of round 13, him, Antonio Gibson is going to be someone that, maybe we could look at next round.
I need to, I've been adjusting my ranks pretty much every day, but I think I'm ready to move Bucky Irving. Like I would rather draft Bucky Irving than Ray Davis right now. What are your thoughts on that? Because right now I've got them.
They're both good picks.
Davis. Yeah.
Chase Edmonds could just very well be the same exact thing as like Ty Johnson. That was kind of what I was getting at, honestly. I was about to say Chase Edmonds' name. Like, I'll keep taking these quarterbacks. That's fantastic. Okay.
Tua's
hear you though.
I'm not scared to have Tua on this team. We've got Waddle, but like not saying he needs to be a thing, but just saying.
We are getting to the point where, again, a couple more running backs: Antonio Gibson, Khalil Herbert, Audric Estime, Tank Bigsby, someone I'd be okay with, getting. But yeah, after that tier, man, like once we get to the Jamal Williams and the Clyde Edwards-Hilairs of the world, a little bit tougher to, be feeling good about it. I used to feel a little better about CEH, and then, the whole missing practice because of PTSD thing. I don't know. It doesn't exactly inspire a bunch of confidence in hitting draft.
Yeah, I know. I'm worried about that. I think we just want CEH to like get well and take care of himself. But I worry 100%. Like, is he gonna be fit for football this year?
Yeah, it's
like, is this going to be a constant thing where it's anxiety and stuff?
Yeah,
that he's battling, which is like, yeah, Ricky Williams went through that and he had to step away from the game, for a while. So, yeah, that makes it tricky.
Get better, CEH, whatever you got to do, man. Tyler Lockett, round 14, Dwain. Do we have to pull the trigger at that point?
Yeah, probably. I don't know. We have to. but it's like you said. I feel like if Antonio Gibson's there, you just take him.
Yeah.
You could probably get me to take Jordan Mason, even though I don't know for sure that he's really ahead of Elijah Mitchell. Elijah Mitchell's just been hurt. Or is it just
I think they'd split.
I agree. I think they would split. I think they're two different skill sets that would have to try to come together to replace CMC. I'm going to go ahead and throw Bigsby in the queue. I know we were waiting really late last night, but like on this team with how much we've waited at the running backs.
And once we're on the clock and you start looking more, I just
like think Bigsby, I need to move up as well. Like when you look at my tier, that's got Audric Estime, Like you've got Jordan Mason in there, Kendry Miller, Elijah Mitchell, Damian Pierce, Roshan Johnson. Like Tank Bigsby probably belongs at the top of that.
I mean, we've seen football players get better. I know it was rough for Bigsby last year, but I almost feel like it's almost just people so pissed off about missing. I mean, he's had one of these. It's honestly a little bit similar to the Kyle Pitts offseason, where just the things that had to go right for Tank Bigsby have all gone right. You know, the coaches continue to say the right things. They've said them all offseason. He's continued to have a good training camp. He needed the Jaguars to not go out there and really add any sort of meaningful competition. Guess what? They didn't. So, I mean, I think the Jaguars wanted to give him a chance last year, and he just didn't make the most out of it. Not saying he will this year necessarily, but, you know, in round 14, all you can kind of ask for is a guy to get the chance. Okay.
Lock it to the guy that waited on receivers, and he took Polk. So, like, he's taking the right players.
Loading up.
Hey, you have to.
Yeah.
I mean, dude, he's doing exactly what he should do. He's got an elite tight end, elite quarterback. He took 3 running backs early. I mean, he's taken what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 straight wide receivers.
And do you ever feel really confident about one of them starting, to be fair?
Well, you're just hoping that you have enough rounds that you do end up finding a combination of 3 that you feel confident in. I think you got a good, like out of the gate, I think you're fine with Devonta Smith, Christian Watson, and DeAndre Hopkins. And then once you get Marquise Brown back, that's feeling pretty good. And then you're just kind of hoping one of the guys of Josh Palmer, Adonai Mitchell, Josh Downs, Tyler Lockett, Jalen Polk give you something.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong, Dwayne. Wow. Double defense stack. I've seen it all in rounds 12 and 14.
Yeah.
And Miles Sanders between that, because when you can get Sanders, the Ravens, and the Bills defenses, you know, you have to do that. Same team that took 2 quarterbacks as well. Love having those sort of drafters in there. Like, you're spending $300 to come out here and take 2 quarterbacks and 2 defenses inside the first 14 rounds. That's crazy to me, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, it's like was he invited by another friend in here that was like, hey, come just make sure this lobby fills.
Yeah, maybe.
Get in here with us. Okay.
Antonio Gibson off the board. That's a shame. It would have been a lot cooler if he was still there.
Yeah.
I think I'm kind of talking myself into Tank Bigsby, man.
Yeah, me too.
Herbert, Mason, Estime, those are the other guys in our queue. Again, I see their pass.
Ligette's in the queue now.
Yeah. I mean, Dotson's starting to.
Dotson actually needs to move further down. This didn't update
at this point. What about
I don't think Dotson's draftable at this point.
Interesting. I mean, I'm not thrilled about it. I'm just. Yeah, screw that. You're right.
I would rather.
What about Pop Douglas?
Yeah, I like Pop. I like Xavier Legette. Like if we're just hoping to hit on some upside at a wide receiver, there goes Khalil Herbert. Man, this is just rough.
I think Wandale potentially. Fields goes.
I like Wandale. I'll put Wandale in the queue. I got Legette in the queue. Who else did you say? Demario Douglas.
Yes. Pop Dougie. All right, we are on the clock. Tank Bigsby.
Yes.
Lock it in. What's the worst thing that could happen? Just literally last year. That's the worst thing that could happen.
Yeah, we've already seen before. Nowhere to go but up, baby.
It cannot be worse than last year. I guarantee, guys, I'm on record. Tank Bigsby will not drop 2 passes that directly lead to interceptions this year. Please don't do that again, Tank. Tyler Boyd goes right after us. Freaking take him, dude. I do remember.
Tyler Boyd's a name I'm not even going to mark off the list.
Yes, it's even on the list.
Yeah, he is. I did mark him off. He's at 101. Jonathan Mingo's off. So Miles Sanders last night also went.
That's what I'm saying, man. That's why. That's what kind of sparked my. Are we positive?
No, I think it's because people think he's getting cut, and that he's going to end up on the Cowboys.
That was a rumor, and that same article also talked about Dalvin Cook.
Right. But I think that's what people are betting on. Miles Sanders getting cut and landing with a team that needs a running back.
Yeah. I mean,
I do think
Damian Pierce too, but guess what? They both freaking suck. At least they did last year.
Yeah. I do think if Miles Sanders, how high do you think Miles Sanders moves in the ranks if he did land on the Cowboys? I don't think we can assume he's even the lead
No.
back yet, but I mean, he would be in play for it.
Yeah, but so is Royce Freeman. Has that really?
I don't think Royce. I think he would immediately pass Royce Freeman. I think it's like the Zeke versus Dowdle versus Sanders.
I wouldn't feel great about it at all, man. Hey.
But you'd be. I'm just asking though, how much would he move up? He'd be getting drafted for sure. Like
Yeah.
right now, like on Underdog, he goes undrafted.
Yeah, that's fair. He'd probably be going around this round would be when I'd be more okay with it. So it's not the most egregious.
So you'd be going Dowdle, Zeke, couple rounds later, Miles Sanders in play.
Yeah.
Miles Sanders has been pretty terrible. Let's be honest.
Even the freaking going into last year.
He had the one good year 2 years ago.
But even that year, like part of the reason why I wasn't
plays.
I never drafted him at all going to last year. I drafted a lot of busts too, but one of the things we got right was really fading Miles Sanders because, you go back and watch some of these players, and Zamir White and Miles Sanders, man, those are two of the guys where when I've gone back and watched all their runs, just shockingly few highlights out of the thing. Like it was just, oh my God, another huge hole by the Eagles offensive line. There's Miles Sanders running untouched for 12 yards and then, getting tackled by the first guy. He was dead last in yards per route run. Like you had to go back to 2020 to pretty much find the sort of stats you were looking at. So, hey, we see guys turned around sometimes. I get it. Muscle hamster. Shout out Doug Martin was doing some of that. But
so I think this pick is pretty easily Xavier Legette, man. Like just sitting here, who knows if we're going to cut him, what's going to happen. But like the upside at receiver, we've got two rookies with Xavier Worthy and Odunze battling for 6 and 7. Like we love the players, but that could go wrong. I just feel like the upside is like, he's a first round NFL draft pick. I mean, I know Supermodel does not like him. I'm on the record of that, but like the Panthers liked him.
And
I feel like it's an easy pick in round 15.
Yes, do it, please.
Right,
you could have stopped. You could have stopped after just let's
make sure.
Maybe really good. I would have been like, yeah, sounds good.
All right.
I mean, dude, again, I know Raz, you've done some good research. It's not the most predictive thing, but I still want guys that are freaky athletes. And when this dude is 37th out of over 3,000 wide receivers in this relative athletic score, man, I think it's a little bit meaningful. I mean, God only makes so many dudes that are 220 plus and can run a sub 4.40 for crying out loud. So Dane Brugler, who I do respect, everything he does in his work and his, collegiate prospects, talks about getting DK Metcalf buys from the film. So yes, the 1 year breakout is concerning. I understand it, but the Panthers, new front office. We got Eric Eager over there helping them, decide to draft Xavier Legette.
Is Eric still helping? Like I haven't even heard anything. Like once that happened, it's been like silence.
I mean, he's working for him. I think.
Is he? Okay. Did his bio change on Twitter?
I saw he was back on saying more nice things than not these days. That's what you got to do when you work for an NFL team. I am so not saying I've ever been a front runner to get an NFL job, but I think I've already just, put that to bed. A quick Twitter search is going to really ruin that in a minute, Dwain.
We got Roshan, I think, in the last round or the 18 last night, just went in 15. So like these guys there's a really wide range on where these players go on this site. I can't tell you guys how much. I'm not just saying it because like we're partnering to draft with these guys, but I like rooms like this, Ian, where it's not just driven 100% off the ADP, and there's still that old school, hey, there's a queue here. It's by their projections, but you guys are going to need to have your own list.
Mm-hmm.
I just think it leads to more fun drafts, people drafting different players all over the place. You have a chance to like draft this monster where people aren't just following this ADP list. Like I really enjoy this.
I think the format is fantastic too. 1 QB, 4-point passing touchdowns, PPR, 2 flex, 2 wide receivers. Like, not saying tight end premium, third round reversal.
0.05 for passing yards. So it's that's every 20 yards you're getting a point, right? Instead of every 25. So a slight little bump, like to your high passing yardage quarterbacks.
That's even more wild to see the quarterbacks getting pushed down the way they did this draft, considering you could argue they should be up there more. But again, and I'm not saying we'd be bashing the, lovely folks at RealTime Sports if we disagree with it, but truly, man, I'm not, again, to your point, not saying this just because we're, partnering up with them a little bit, but really do like this scoring system particularly. So third round reversal, Dwain, even when it kind of works out in my favor, obviously I'm a bigger fan then, but it just feels un-American to me. I don't know. I don't have a great reason for it, great rationale, I should say, but just how I feel. So noticing in the queue, Wan'Dale Robinson, Pop Douglas, Jordan Mason, Cam Akers, Luke McCaffrey. Not against taking one more of these wide receivers, Dwayne. I feel like there are some guys here that could rise up the ranks in a hurry.
Yeah. And I threw Cam Akers over there. Just I don't know. He looked good in preseason. That's all I'm going to say. Man, he made that cutback to the right when he's running downhill to the left was sick. Now, he's not going to outrun the DB there, but he still got like a nice little stiff arm in the end. I know he's going to wear a really cool freaking visor that Ian's going to like and is going to be tweeting about. So it's like
Dwayne, question though. Cam Akers, he came back from the Achilles the first time, didn't look great, but came back really quickly and, started to look a little better than he did at least during that first 4-game stretch, the year after. And then he comes back. He's looking good again, coming back from the Achilles. We have Rodgers and Cousins coming back in 1 year. What if J.K. Dobbins is back, man? I know he had the big knee injury the year before, too.
I thought
Tim
about
Patrick, too.
Tim Patrick, too. I thought about it way too much just because we had the talk around Gus Edwards. I will say over here in this format, they prefer J.K. Dobbins in 2 drafts in a row to Gus Edwards. I have it as a split backfield between them, really close with a slight lead to Gus. I don't think I'm going to change my projections, but as I think about like pure upside, I can't argue against J.K. Dobbins. J.K. Dobbins has more. Like if he somehow does have a miraculous recovery, he's going to be better than Gus Edwards. Like, I mean, it's facts. So it's science. So yeah, I'm with you, man. I'm with you. And I'd like to get a few J.K. Dobbins shares. I don't know that it'll be in this format because he kind of goes early. He goes round 10.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's kind of like, I don't know that I want to be taking him over Corum, Dowdle, but maybe I should be thinking of him there. I'm at least intrigued with J.K. Dobbins, like at this point.
Daniel Jeremiah a couple months back noted that he is someone that fantasy managers should draft. Not saying that media personalities are 100% when dipping their toes into these waters, but again, it was one of those things where I think, Dwayne, one of the potentially negative parts of people like us, just really breathing this fantasy shit, each and every day of the year, we see the contracts come out, we see the Achilles injury, and I just think we maybe wrote off Dobbins a little too quick earlier in the offseason, and maybe just now at this point see him come on a little faster. Maybe could have been a bit more predictable, but again, we'll see what happens. Maybe he also is just cooked and doesn't do anything.
One pick to less. What do you like in here? I've got Wan'Dale in the queue. I've got Jordan Mason in the queue, Luke McCaffrey, Ricky Pearsall, Cam Akers, and Tim Patrick. That's what we have.
Let's see, 6 running backs.
Cam Akers, you don't have to take here. Like he's gonna fall. I wouldn't mind squeezing him on one team. There goes Andre Yoshivaz.
I feel better about some of these wide receivers, man.
All right, which one you want? You like McCaffrey with this exodus of Jahan Dotson?
I think that makes sense.
All right. I like throwing these guys on the roster. We're gonna know more week 1. What if week 1, like we don't know for sure. What if the unveil is week 1, Luke McCaffrey and Xavier Legette are actually both starting wide receivers, and so is Dontavian Wicks. Like we don't know for sure like how this is gonna go. That's the thing. Like we have all the data points that we're tracking and following, but really, like especially in Washington, I know Luke McCaffrey's been buried, like as far as his playing time, but Olamide Zaccheaus is the thing standing between Luke McCaffrey and being on the field. Like, and no, if Olamide Zaccheaus is a god compared to me. Yeah. He's on an NFL team, like, and constantly gets contracts. So like, there's obviously something there, but like, if I'm thinking of a player having a chance to take a step forward, like, man, for me, it's like McCaffrey. Like, wouldn't surprise me if he's suddenly the slot wide receiver right away week 1, even though he was like working with like the 3rd and 4th team in preseason.
And again, at this point in the draft, same reason why we drafted Xavier Legette. McCaffrey on the depth chart, a 3rd round pick. At that point, it's just, okay, we're in round 16.
Let's see what we got here.
Maybe he's Christian McCaffrey. Maybe he's Max McCaffrey. I don't know, man. Like, it can go, one of two ways. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's not going to be Christian, guys. But again, he's got some talent, and we know we have a chance to get him in round 16. So speaking of media personalities, making some pretty, big statements in fantasy, Scott Barrett had a tweet talking about how he's working through his rankings. Can't stop thinking about how many times Jim Nagy, who is the director of the Senior Bowl and a former scout of multiple Super Bowl winning teams, has told Scott Luke McCaffrey is this year's Puka Nacua. And I will say, Dwayne, out of all the bad kind of this year's Puka Nacua comps I've heard, McCaffrey does come a little bit closer than, some of these other ones. I mean, look, it would take an injury for Terry McLaurin, I think, for this to really, come to fruition. But I think LMC, I mean, have you kind of redone the Washington?
The thing is, it won't take a Terry McLaurin injury because, like, here's the thing with Washington.
Yeah, what are your target projections?
Be a situation where it's just those two.
Yeah.
I mean, Zach Ertz, I think, is going to be sneaky and frustrate a lot of people early in the year. I think Ben Sinnott is probably the second best receiving option on the team. I don't know how quickly he'll get on the field because he's a rookie and he plays tight end, and they do have a veteran. We've talked about that equation being tricky for rookies, especially early in a season. Like it happened to Michael Mayer last year. People are like, oh no, man, Michael Mayer's a guy like Austin Hooper can derail a rookie, tight end. So I kind of like that call. I will also say that Friedman on our team really likes McCaffrey. He's a guy that he talked to me several times. I'm trying to think where Thor is on McCaffrey. I don't think he was crazy about him. He wasn't like JJ McCarthy high on him, that's for sure.
Right.
But I don't know I need to reach out to Thor and ask him again tomorrow about McCaffrey. And because I may need to move him up some more. Like I moved him up in the ranks. I put him next to like Javon Baker, Roman Wilson. No, this didn't adjust. So this isn't adjusted to what I did on the site. So on the site, I moved Luke McCaffrey up further than that. But I think you could argue Luke McCaffrey should be all the way up there around like once the first rounders, like Liggett and Pearsall, are off the board. I think you could argue that Luke McCaffrey is like if you're looking for young upside, like he would be in the next tier.
He's also been going to breakfast with Jaden seemingly all camp, which again, just the Puka narrative continues to get stronger and stronger for the artist known as LMC. So reportedly taking some snaps at RB in June. People forget, Dwayne, Luke McCaffrey, 180 combined carries and targets. Who says no? Not us. Ricky Pearsall finally off the board in round 17. That was another one.
I mean, we thought about him. He was in our queue at the last pick. McCaffrey just has a much cleaner path. I think Ricky Pearsall's the better player. McCaffrey just has the cleaner path to playing time, like right away.
Right.
In no world, unless Brandon Ayuk is traded, is there an unveil in week one where we're like, holy shit, Ricky Pearsall, we're screwed. We don't have him. Like it's going to take 2 injuries.
Yeah. I will say.
And I'm not saying you can't draft him this late. Like that's not what I'm saying.
It's going to take 2 injuries and a reverse injury because right now he's not practicing with the shoulder.
Yeah, he's going to have to be healthy.
Dwayne, we're on the clock. What are you thinking?
Jordan Mason was my thought.
We need another running back. I'm cool with Jordan Mason.
Cool.
He's I believe number 2 behind only Achane in yards per carry over the last 2 years. If you're enough of a dickhead with the rush attempt quantifier.
I got to say, I'm slacking. Like these ranks did not update with what I put in the site today. Like I've got it set up now where I can quickly update these so I don't have to be like, oh, I gotta go fix the draft sheet. So I'm gonna have to, my formulas are messed up or something. I'll figure it out tomorrow.
Taysom Hill is a interesting one for us. Oh no, he already went.
Oh yeah, dude. I Taysom Hill, I moved him today on the site to like tight end 15.
Yeah, that's where he should go. We're going to talk about on the FantasyLife show tomorrow, but yeah, after Freiermuth, after Schultz, it is Taysom Hill right there. Yahoo eligibility now, everyone. Quarterback and tight end, even though he mostly plays running back. That's just the world we live in, Dwayne, and we have to accept it over here in Fantasyland. So.
I will say I know Jordan Whittington has played well in the preseason, but he's out there playing with like the 6th string. Like they're not playing any starters for the Rams. He's another player where it's like probably needs multiple injuries to be on the field. Has looked good though. Like I give the guy credit. Like with his playing time that he's gotten, has looked pretty good. He's not a guy I've been drafting though.
He's looked okay. Good's a strong word.
It's a weird spot. Like, it's like, do you take like the little bit of camp vibe or preseason vibe around some of these players like Yoshi Voss or Whittington, or do you just bet on the talent and the clearer depth charts? Like Liggett, we have nothing on him in preseason, but the depth chart, like, I think he can overtake Jonathan Mingo. Luke McCaffrey, we got Olamide Zaccheaus and Diami Brown. I actually like Diami Brown. My guess is Diami Brown probably has a full-time role as like the guy who like kind of takes the top off the defense. I don't know that he's going to get a ton of targets. I think Jaden's going to definitely hit him on some deep balls this year. Like he already did in the preseason. He hit him down that sideline with a beautiful ball. So I feel like McCaffrey, like if Zach Ertz is washed and Sennett's not ready to take on a role where he can block and stuff, like, I don't know. It's like I lean more to the players that went earlier in the draft that still have a clean path to playing time than guys that are playing with the third and fourth string that have looked good.
Yeah.
And that feels kind of weird, but that's still my preference. I don't know about you.
Any quarterbacks you're looking at late? Geno Smith, Sam Darnold, Bryce Young? No,
I'm not putting that voodoo out there on Anthony Richardson. He's playing 17 games.
Let's go. He's gonna finish.
But if we were to take one,
Drake May.
It would have been Justin Fields probably.
He's already gone.
Yeah, I saw he's gone. But yeah, Drake May would be
maybe not.
Do we have any other stacks? No. We're not taking Derek Carr.
I'd probably take Geno over Drake May. I should say that.
I think we're good.
Yeah.
I don't want to take another one. Is there a defense or whatever you like here? We've got 3 picks. There goes Akers. Wow. I thought Akers was going to get to be a freaking freebie.
Damn.
I guess. Okay. Good picks. Like, oh, well, he took Pierce and Akers. So he said, hey, I got whoever it is. He's got
Dude, he took
pretty sharp drafter down there at
12.
12. Wasn't crazy again about the start, but I feel like he definitely understands the concept of
he's got a plan.
How you spend draft capital.
All right.
It says he's a top 100 player in the lobby.
Well, if the lobby says it, it must be true.
Well, it's like it's from the site. So it is true.
That's a fact. It's true. We don't have to debate that. What's the best defense?
He's probably looking at our team thinking it sucks.
Steelers are available.
You like the Steelers this year?
Not really.
I liked what we did the other night.
Me too. Who we settle on? KC?
Yeah, we had KC, the Texans, the Eagles. We got away from the Dolphins just because like they're banged up, and so like we don't know how good their defense. But like, if you can get teams that get to play from ahead, and therefore, dang, Tim Patrick too.
Sheesh.
In and out the bottom of our queue. Yeah, our queue's empty now, except for defenses.
What about if injuries aren't real, Dwain? Keaton Mitchell, round 18.
Yeah. When's he supposed to be back?
I don't know. I have no idea. His leg was backwards.
He got hurt, in November?
Yeah. It was horrific.
I feel like we're going to have to end up cutting him. Is my gut.
Yeah.
But what about Trey Sermon? He just had a hamstring pull, but was like clearly the backup to.
But dude, they like Tyler Goodson and those guys.
I don't think they like Tyler Goodson. I think Tyler Goodson's a terrible football player. So yeah, Tyler Goodson family.
I just question.
You're also like, well, is Trey Sermon a good football player, Dwayne?
I think Sermon's kind of like Shipley. Like, even if he gets out there, what are we actually getting with it? Like, if it really goes well for him.
Yeah, we've made our bet that it's that the tush push is coming to Indy.
Right. I'm trying to find anything on Keaton Mitchell.
I honestly don't mind taking a kicker here. They cleaned out the queue, and I love Fairbairn.
What running is there a running back we want?
Look, Jalen McMillan is sitting here. Oh. Jalen McMillan is sitting here.
Let's go, Jalen McMillan.
Ian's like, do not.
Dude, how many freaking rookie? You have 5 rookie wide receivers.
It's fine.
Hey, one of them is going to work out.
That's what we're saying. We're not. We know that they're not all going to work out. This team's going to get blasted as soon as I post it on Twitter. Oh man, take all the rookie wide receivers.
Is this a dynasty team?
Yeah,
We're 100% getting one of those.
Yes.
It's all right, dude.
We're gonna get trashed.
Now we got Dontavian Wicks. That's just ball. If you draft Dontavian Wicks, ball. That's just a fact. So, look, I would be very surprised if one of Liggett, McCaffrey, or McMillan doesn't do something this year.
I agree, and that's all we're hoping for.
And like these are late. I'm honestly surprised we took as many wide receivers as we did in these kind of later rounds because we used taking running backs. But I'm not going to force guys like Royce Freeman and Jamal Williams and Ty Johnson that have been going these past couple rounds. So when we have guys that have actual, we could look up after week 1 and each of Liggett, McCaffrey, and McMillan are just starters and doing their thing out there.
I agree.
So
while we're saying we just want one of them to hit, we could easily have multiple.
We can cut them. That's fine. Just
like we just built our roster. We waited on receiver. Yeah. I mean, we didn't wait, but we took 2 running backs first.
We have 7 running backs, so it's not like we ignored the position. Breece Hall, Devin Achane, Jonathan Brooks, Tyler Algier, Ray Davis, Tank Bigsby, and Jordan Mason. So 4 guys that I think have pretty solid handcuff upside. Definitely Algier. I mean, Brooks, Achane, and Hall are going to be weekly starters whenever they're healthy enough to suit up. So, no, I'm cool with how that worked out. Some of the running backs going off the board right now are just gross. Kenneth Gainwell in rounds. Like, how do you wake up in the morning, look yourself in the mirror, and say, like, I drafted Kenneth Gainwell in round 16? I've never had to worry about that, Dwayne, but I can't imagine it feels good.
Yeah. So my thought here is, like, let's try the Eagles out on this one, just because, like, man, like, look at that defensive line. Oh my God.
Yeah. And
they're so loaded, and they upgraded their secondary. Oh man. They've got the 3 safeties they can move around now. They added linebackers.
I mean, they were 8th in scoring in 2022.
Dude, they were great.
Right.
I like mixing it up just in case we like hit lightning in a bottle on one of these defenses.
Dude, Vic Fangio run the defense now too, man. I think they could be sick. Yeah, let's go Eagles. I'm cool with that.
Let's take them if they're there. If not, we'll take the Chiefs or the Raiders.
And I'll say this too, man. Look at the schedule. And they have an early bye, but that's okay. Packers in week 1, that's not great. It's in Brazil, Friday night game. After that, though, Falcons, Achilles Kirk. We get Derek Carr, Baker Mayfield. Then after the bye, we get the Browns, the Giants. Yeah. Philadelphia Eagles, come on down.
And sometimes, like, if you can just get lucky and you land the actual good defense, it doesn't even matter who they're playing. And that's kind of like your bet. Like if you're taking the Eagles, like I look at this team and I honestly can't believe they're not ranked higher. We've got Bryce Huff, who they get from the Jets. How many sacks did that dude have last year? Like he was a part-time player and he had like, I don't know, 15 sacks or something. Jalen Carter.
14 and a half, yeah.
14 and a half sacks, man. I think he had the best pressure rate, one of the best pressure rates in the league. You got Jalen Carter, your 23 round 1 pick that shouldn't have even fallen to where he did, but he did because of an off-field incident. Jordan Davis. I mean, you've got Milton Williams. I don't know anything about him. He's your 2021 third round pick.
Brought in Devin White. I know he doesn't have the biggest fans in the world, but the dude.
But Josh Sweat's really their other pressure player.
They got Chauncey Gardner-Johnson back.
Yeah, they're playing more of a 3-4. So Josh Sweat's the other pressure player. Yeah, dude, like this defense is freaking loaded.
Let's go Eagles. Sign me up.
Right.
And again, I like more than anything, I do like the idea of really taking defenses on teams that were confident in being good. And the Eagles could be the best team in the NFC. I'm not saying they're going to knock off the 49ers. We all saw how that game went last year and everything. But, man, if it's not going to be the Niners, I think you're going to be pretty hard-pressed to name more than a few teams in a better position than
Dude, they've got – so they have Darius Slay, who obviously took a little bit of a step back last year. They took Quinyon Mitchell in the first round this year to be their nickel back.
Cooper DeJean coming back from the hammy, but he'll be
good. 2024 second round pick. Then you got Reed Blankenship, a good young safety. They've got CJ Gardner-Johnson, and then they've got like James Bradbury as the backup as the extra safety. Like, man, I know Bradbury sucked last year. Like he got cooked. Like he really got cooked. The year before he was pretty good. And I'm always down for being a sucker for Jeremiah Trotter's son. He's a 5th round pick though.
Right.
But man, I'm looking at this thing and I'm like, it's the beef, man, up front, and then the investments in the secondary and the fact that they should be playing with leads. I know we've talked about defense too long, but I'm kind of just wondering, like, why are we not taking the Eagles? Why are the Eagles not one of the earlier defenses off the board?
And, again, when you add Vic Fangio to the unit, I mean, this could be a situation where with the, sort of pressure he kind of dials up and, some like we saw with the Dolphins last year. I mean, that could be a situation where we strike gold on almost like the Cowboys style of defense, where it is a situation where they are just going balls to the wall. And accordingly, we get all those turnovers because there's one team every year that, just lives on those turnovers and, the pick sixes and everything. And maybe, just maybe, Dwayne, it's the Eagles. We are certainly betting that it will be. So, through round 19, let's go ahead, Dwayne. Yes, we're going to drop the kicker here in a minute, but let's get.
We do have another team not taking a defense or a kicker yet, and he's made his round 19 pick. So obviously, you don't have to do it over here.
Don't have to do it. Again,
looks like it's going to be potentially we'll see what happens down here at the turn. Potentially the same thing for these other guys. So if you don't want a kicker and there is a player that you like,
I'd be cool with Sermon. Or even Mitchell.
Then we got to remember.
Okay.
We got to remember to come freaking pick up a damn kicker before week
Set
1.
A calendar reminder.
I don't want to do this 20 times. I'll say that.
Oh my goodness.
All right, Sermon. I got Sermon over here. Did Lobby go?
Yeah, he went round 18.
Okay.
On a turn.
All right. 12 hole took Clyde Edwards-Helaire and Deneric Prince. Every time I write Deneric Prince's name, which has only been twice, Grammarly corrects it to generic Prince, which is low-key funny.
I love it. It always gets me on Cortland Sutton. It takes away the
it keeps fixing it. And it clearly thinks that Isaiah Pacheco's parents didn't know how to spell. It keeps trying to change Isaiah. It keeps trying to add the other A in there. Or is it another I? Isaiah. What a weird name when Isaiah, I spell it.
Yeah.
Too many vowels in a row, man.
All right.
Too many vowels in a row, man.
Are you with me, Trey Sermon?
I think we take the kicker just because I don't want to forget about this.
I'm not worried about us forgetting about it.
I know, but then we have to do it. We have to come pick it up.
I mean, the Colts game's over. It's not like, gosh, it'd be the biggest jinx.
I don't mind. If we want to do it, we just got to remember.
Is there anyone like could Pirine get cut and go to Dallas?
Potentially.
He caught 50 balls last year. I mean,
take Pirine.
Horrible.
Just see if he gets cut and he goes to another team.
Because that's what I'm saying. With Sermon, nothing's really like maybe he's on freaking IR. Like that's just horrible. I don't think we have to cut whoever it's gonna be. Like we are cutting them before week 1 in all likelihood, unless something crazy good happens. I don't think anything crazy good's happening for Trey Sermon. He's just a handcuff to Jonathan Taylor potentially, but we're cutting him anyway.
Okay, let's take Samaje Perine. I mean, he'd have to get like a really juicy landing spot, but I don't mind.
He is one of those veteran cut candidates that we could see.
All right, let's draft him.
Teams. If he goes to the Bengals, I'm not thrilled about it, but I don't know. He probably goes up in ADP a little bit.
So we are seeing multiple people not take. So team 12 didn't take a kicker or a defense.
I'm hitting the show more button under running backs. That's always
dude, like this format is so built for you. You don't have to draft a kicker or a defense. Like, have you written their CEO yet and tell them how much you love them? You could say the only improvement, sir, would be that we don't have to start one.
Yes, come on. One last thing, please. All right, let's go ahead and get Samaje Perine.
We'll take Perine. All right, cool.
And with that, everyone, we have completed our second draft over here at RealTime Fantasy Sports. Again, started off superhero RB Bill with Breece Hall and Devin Achane. Got our 2 starting wide receivers. That's right, 2, not 3 wide receiver spots in this one. Jalen Waddle and T. Higgins. Got elite at tight end, Trey McBride. Back-to-back rookie stud wide receivers, I should say, in Xavier Worthy and Rome Odunze. Anthony Richardson falling to us in round 8. We were debating taking him in round 7. Ended up being one of the stories of this draft draft with quarterbacks falling. Jonathan Brooks in round 9. Again, someone that I haven't made a big time habit of taking, at least not as much as Dwain. And we were able to get him behind a lot of RB3s that generally we see him go ahead of. Rashid Shaheed and Dontavian Wicks, 2 more nice wide receivers too that, in my opinion, helped really solidify that room. Then went back to running backs, Tyler Algier, Ray Davis, and Tank Bigsby to provide some handcuff upside, some more rookie wide receivers with some solid draft capital in reasonable situations. Xavier Leggett, Luke McCaffrey, and Jalen McMillan, and then Jordan Mason, Samaje Perine, along with the Eagles defense to close things out. So, Dwain, other than, yes, we do need to cut someone and pick up a kicker eventually. Final thoughts on the squad. How are you feeling?
I really like it. It was a tougher draft room than last night. Overall, I thought there were some other really sharp drafters in the room, and there were some good ones last night as well. But I think we had a few more in this one, and that of course makes things a little bit challenging. Getting sniped on Malik Neighbors and Rashee Rice, because I'll be honest, my dream was Breece Hall, Achane, Neighbors, Rice. That was my dream. But we needed to test out how far does Rashee Rice fall if we don't take him. And now we kind of have an idea. So we're going to do multiple more of these. So we needed to know that. So try to spin it as a positive and say, we've got the data point that we need. We know we got the research in. Malik Neighbors now though has gone in the first half of round 3 in both drafts. So the secret sauce is out on Malik Neighbors. It's not just an underdog thing. These drafters are also crazy about it. So good to know those things, but yes, overall, I really like the team. Breece Hall and Achane, if you're going superhero running back, that's how you got to do it. I think we might like the team a little better had we taken a receiver where we got to Achane, but it was a little bit of a weird spot. Let me ask it to you this way. Would you rather have Achane or just take Malik Neighbors in round 2? I know we could have taken Cooper Kupp or Nico Collins, but I know you're not feeling it on Nico. I would be fine taking Nico there, but if the name were Malik Neighbors, how would you feel if that was your trade-off with Achane? And then you would probably have to say round 6 is probably where we would have taken a running back. Do you think, or we might have gotten off of McBride in round 5 and taken Joe Mixon, but I think probably round 6, a player like Pollard or David Montgomery. Would you rather have Achane and Xavier Worthy, or would you rather have Malik Neighbors and David Montgomery?
I think Achane and Worthy, man.
I think so. I think it's really close. Yeah. I think it's really close too. So yeah, I don't feel bad.
With the way the room was going, again, we got Brooks, but otherwise a lot of these running backs are being pushed up to points where I don't think it would have been comfortable taking them kind of where they were going.
Yeah. So we got elite tight end and elite quarterback, which is really hard to do. And we got them. So we didn't reach. Yeah. McBride fell to us in round 5. Anthony Richardson fell to us in round 8. Now, a lot of quarterbacks fell. People got Joe Burrow, CJ Stroud, Kyler Murray in round 9. Okay. But Anthony Richardson in round 8 is still the leader based on where he normally goes, right? 100%. Of that group. These other guys you could still get. I don't know that CJ Stroud falls around 9 here that often, but getting Richardson in 8 and McBride in 5, I feel good. So I think Jalen Waddle, T. Higgins, Xavier Worthy are locked in week 1. Odunze is the player we wanted because he's the upside and we waited on wide receiver. He's the most tricky one week 1, right? Yep. We could look up and be like, oh, wow. Freaking, Shane Waldron's a complete moron and Rome Odunze played 50% of the snaps. Now, having said that, Rome Odunze could also just be Tank Dell. Yeah. He may not need more than 65% of the snaps to just freaking have games where he's going to ball out and you just got to start him every week. But having said all that, we came back to your point and we hit and we built a dynasty team with all these young wide receivers. But we're just looking for 1 or 2 to do something for us. But we did work Rashid Shaheed in there. So I like the upside of all the receivers we took for how late we took them. So yeah, I really like the roster. And then talking through the last pick of just trying something different with a guy like Perine. I thought that was fun too.
Great day to be great indeed, Mr. McFarland. Hey, we are not done doing these drafts. We are shooting for at least 5 to 6. You're going to be without me, Dwain, this weekend. I got to go to Chicago and hopefully whoop my friends, collect.
You're going to go play in an 8-team league.
Yeah. You'll be back here drafting, though, on Saturday, correct?
Yes. Yeah. We'll draft another one, and it'll probably come out Sunday morning.
Great stuff there. So you got all your strategy stuff up at FantasyLife.com. We are doing a show in about 8.5 hours. So hopefully, don't have too big of bags under our eyes for that one. Going to be talking again through some of our favorite draft strategies with that. And yeah, otherwise, go out there and freaking go draft that real-time fantasy sports yourselves, everyone, because it really is a fun experience. So for Dwayne, I'm Ian. Thanks again for tuning into the Fantasy Life Show.